Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson.
And we're back for our next installment.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Let's go with
the next the next installment of Santa Rosa Week. It was another exciting week. I want to take a couple moments. So, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the show, you're going to see an email address. And we would appreciate it if you would send us an email. Tell us we're horrible. Tell us we're great. Tell us we're no good. Give us a suggestion. Let us know what you think. And certainly we want to hear, hey, anything that you have an interest in, we'll certainly be happy to do a story about it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so take advantage of that. I want to take a moment to explain to the viewers that in a typical year, usually in March, elected officials and department heads are asked to bring their budget requests forward to the altar. And there's a lot of arm wrestling behind the scenes. There's a little bit of arm wrestling in front of the scenes. We go through this long, lengthy, horrible process, and all the numbers are brought together, and then by state law, 21 days before the new budget takes effect, there is a nighttime budget meeting, which was September the 2nd. I've been to a few of these, and I was surprised that there was a large contingent of people there, and I recognized most of them, and I knew they were associated with the parks, the different parks in Santa Rosa County. So I eased over to one of the, I knew one of the members of the East Milton Park, and I said, what in the world is going on? And ladies and gentlemen, last year they forced the parks into paying their power bill, and apparently this year they've now requested that the parks pick up irrigation, garbage pickup, and several other items. And for example, the East Milton Park, that bill was $16,000 in the previous fiscal year. So
we should explain that the budget has been reduced. The county budget is lower this year than it was last year by about 6%.
Right.
And the reason for that is that the millage rate stayed the same, but the amount of assessed property went down because of the effects of Amendment 1, which we voted, we the taxpayers, we the voters, approved in January. With
a margin of 61 to 63%.
Correct.
A huge margin. We wanted it.
Right. They could actually have raised the millage rate by a couple of points, but they chose not to do that. Instead, they chose to take in less money this year. So now there are fewer dollars for various services. And what we're hearing is that some of the parks departments have been asked to pay for, I guess it's landscaping, and you just
irrigation, garbage pickup. Right. There were several items in the category, and we're going to.
And these are the sports associations who are being asked
sports
to pay.
associations in the county, and we're gonna we want you to see some of the responses from the different presidents of that. What do we have? 4.
We have Charles Baxley, who's president of the Pace Athletic Recreation Association, followed by Larry Dixon, who's president of the Navarre Youth Sports Association, and then Charles Horde, who's president of the East Milton Youth Association in the upcoming clips.
So let's roll those and let you take a look.
This is their reaction to the new expenses for their associations.
Our increase in expenses due to the electrical costs that we absorbed last year increased our budget at the ballpark 10%. Unfortunately, our only recourse was to raise the fees that we charge the kids to play youth sports at our ballparks. Now with the assessments that apparently were going to be moved over to our organizations again this year, it looks like there's going to be another 10 to 15% increase in our budgets due to these additional charges. We lost a lot of participation this year when we had to raise our rates. We're going to lose more participation next year if we have to raise them.
Prices have went up everywhere, and I know that you guys got to cut the budget, but the parents that we serve are not getting any pay raises. So now it's coming down to the point that parents are going to have to start deciding which kid can play which sport. So they're going to have to tell one kid you can't play this sport while the brother plays this sport because they don't have the money for all the kids to play.
If we pass on these additional costs to our particular park, you know, it's almost assuring that we will not be able to function. With the cost that we're having to, you know, to tell our parents to pay, and we're in an area, you know, that's not as fortunate as only 2 scholarships. You know, we're looking at averaging 25 to 30 for each sport we do. And we can only ask sponsors to help us so much. You know, we're doing our fundraisers, we're doing whatever we can to keep our park afloat.
Well, Deborah, I certainly understand their feelings. These are all volunteer people. To my knowledge, I don't believe there's any sports association that has a paid person. It's all volunteer. And they certainly have to look at the management of this park, and when they have $8 or $10 or $15,000 added that they have to come up with money for, the only place to go is to increase the rates. And I did find it interesting that these 3 park presidents said, you know, we had to go up last year and we had less participation. And if we have to go up again, there's going to be less participation again. And I certainly see that. Now, to educate you, the viewer, there's a gentleman's agreement in Santa Rosa County on the electrical franchise fee that 50% of it goes to the road department, 40% of it goes to the parks department, and 10% of it goes to economic development.
Let's call that economic development.
Yeah, economic development.
And we should also mention franchise fees are an extra little tax that's tacked on to your electric bill.
Sure, it looks and quacks, and it is a tax, so they can call it what they want to. Now, at the present time, that money that is set aside is supposed to be used for capital improvements.
Building new things.
Yeah, building new things. And I'll tell you, I've kept pretty close track of the park building in Santa Rosa County. And since 2001, we're pretty close to $24 million worth of parks that we have built. And I tell you, I went through youth programs, I've coached at youth programs, and I think they are a marvelous thing. I do want accountability at the parks. If they make money, I think that money needs to go back into the general revenue fund for all the parks. But with that said, I also believe that we need to support those parks, and the hard rule that's there now needs to be changed. They should allow at least a percentage of that to be used as an operational budget and not all capital. Honest to goodness, we've built Tiger Point and Navarre and Para Park and the soccer complex. We're redoing the football fields at Pace now. We've put in tennis courts. I think the people of Santa Rosa County said you got plenty of parks. And I certainly agree that some of that money needs to be used for the operation of the park and try to get the dues down for the kids instead of continue to raise them. And I think we noticed that we had some commissioners that were in agreement with that. And we'd like for you to see what they had to say, so let's roll tape.